Take a vintage Rolex Submariner, specifically the reference 1680. In pristine condition, it is a highly valuable collector's piece. But when that same watch features a face that is visibly damaged, faded, and sun-baked, its market value often doubles or triples. Collectors call these sun-bleached faces tropical dials. Based on 2025 market data, these degraded pieces sell for anywhere from 3 to 10 times the price of a standard, undamaged model. In this specialized market, physical deterioration is a desirable asset. This visible decay fuels an entire digital economy dedicated to tracking, verifying, and selling the damage to the highest bidder. Building interest for these watches requires a specific visual strategy. Creators use split composition thumbnails that contrast a standard black dial against a chocolate brown one, often paired with the hook, "Why this sells for more." The content itself follows a rigid structural blueprint to maximize reach. This includes 15-minute chapter breakdowns for easy navigation and a script pace locked between 130 and 145 words per minute to maintain viewer retention. This structure is reinforced by a targeted search strategy. High-volume keywords focusing on authentication and market value are used to funnel specific buyers directly toward these rare tropical listings. While digital packaging generates the initial hype, valuations in the hundreds of thousands of dollars require more than marketing. Sellers must provide concrete, physical proof of the watch's history to justify the price. That proof is found in the manufacturing methods used between 1950 and 1970. This was an era of watchmaking defined by a very specific set of chemical constraints. If we look at a microscopic cross-section of a vintage dial, the entire architecture is incredibly thin, measuring between 0.8 and 1.2 millimeters from the base to the surface. The foundation is a base plate made of brass or German silver, typically 0.3 to 0.5 millimeters thick. A thin primer layer is applied directly over this metal to help the subsequent layers of paint adhere. Above the primer sits a proprietary solvent-based organic lacquer. The final markings and text are then applied to the very top of this lacquer through a silkscreen printing process known as serigraphy. This multi-layered stack is structurally vulnerable. Because the organic lacquer is the outermost protective layer, it remains directly exposed to the environment for decades. Over time, ultraviolet light, heat, and humidity trigger a process called photochemical degradation. This constant environmental bombardment causes the complex chemical bonds within the lacquer to fracture and break apart. This exposure destroys the chromophores, the molecules responsible for the lacquer's color. As they break down, the original black pigment mutates into a non-uniform gradient, fading into shades of chocolate, caramel, or amber. Simultaneously, the luminous markers age. The radioactive radium or tritium used in these markers decays over decades, shifting from a bright white to a warm caramel yellow patina. This simultaneous breakdown of both the lacquer and the radioactive markers creates a specific visual signature. Because this organic aging process is nearly impossible to replicate with modern artificial methods, it serves as a reliable baseline for authentication. Understanding this chemical breakdown allows collectors to identify the specific vintage references where these flaws have been most accurately documented. The most significant market activity centers on early Rolex Daytona chronographs, specifically references 6239 and 6241. These models include the famous Paul Newman variants. When one of these watches features a genuine chocolate tropical dial, it becomes a rare asset that can command option prices exceeding $500,000. These astronomical prices are driven by a specific form of scarcity. Because the transformation relies on a completely accidental chemical flaw, the resulting dial is a physical asset that modern manufacturing cannot reproduce. The market for these watches is a collision between modern digital strategy and the rigid reality of mid-century chemistry. Buying a tropical dial is the acquisition of a scientifically verified fingerprint, a permanent record of the specific environment and conditions the watch survived. The multi-million-dollar valuations we see today represent the successful monetization of material degradation. Collectors are essentially paying for the specific, accidental way a watch failed to stay the same.